Welcome to my channel, Old Coin Quarter Dollar, where history lives in your hands. If you're passionate about rare coins, vintage currency, and the fascinating stories behind them, you're in the right place. Don't forget to watch the full video, share it with your fellow collectors, like, and subscribe to stay updated with more valuable content every week. So let's get started. The Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 1975 5 new pence coin is one of the most recognizable decimal coins from the United Kingdom, produced during the transitional years when the British monetary system had already switched from the old pounds, shillings, and pence structure into the modern decimal system, introduced in 1971. This coin, commonly referred to simply as a 5 new pence, represents a denomination that was intended to replace the older 1 shilling coin, which had circulated in Britain for centuries under the pre-decimal system. The inscription on the obverse reads Elizabeth II DG Reg, FD 1975 inch, which is an abbreviated Latin title that stands for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fide Defensa, translated into English as Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This form of inscription is traditional on British coinage, connecting the modern reign of Queen Elizabeth II to the long-standing traditions of monarchy, sovereignty, and the established church. The date 1975 is placed at the bottom of the coin, signifying the year of minting, and during that year, millions of these coins were struck for circulation by the Royal Mint to meet the needs of commerce during the relatively new decimal currency period. On the obverse, the design features a second definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by the sculptor Arnold Machen, which had been introduced in 1968 and remained in use until 1984. In this portrait, the Queen is depicted wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a diamond tiara that was originally a wedding gift to Queen Mary in 1893 and later given to Elizabeth II by her grandmother, Queen Mary, in 1947 as a wedding present. The Machen portrait is known for its youthful elegance, presenting Elizabeth II with refined facial features and a serene yet regal bearing. The style of engraving emphasizes clarity, simplicity, and symmetry, which work well for the smaller decimal coins such as a 5 new pence. The lettering around the rim of the obverse is in uppercase serif font, evenly spaced to maintain a harmonious balance around the Queen's portrait. The reverse of the 1975 5 new pence coin was designed by Christopher Ironside, who was responsible for all the original decimal coin reverse designs introduced in 1971. It features a badge of Scotland, which consists of a crowned thistle, one of the most iconic national symbols of Scotland, representing strength, resilience, and the unity of the kingdom within Great Britain. The crown placed above the thistle reinforces its royal association and its status as part of the broader British heritage. Around the central motif, the denomination is inscribed in words as new pence at the top and the number 5 at the bottom, indicating the value of the coin. The style of the lettering is bold yet compact, complementing the small circular design of the coin. This particular reverse type remained in use until 1981, after which the inscription New Pence was replaced with 5 pence starting in 1982, marking a subtle but symbolic evolution in decimal coinage presentation. In terms of specifications, the 1975 5 new pence was minted in cupro-nickel alloy, composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silver-gray appearance. The coin has a diameter of 23.59 millimeters, a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, and a weight of 5.65 grams. Its edge is milled reeded, which not only provided a tactile and aesthetic quality but also served the practical purpose of discouraging coin clipping, a historical problem when precious metal content was once a concern. Although the 5 new pence no longer had intrinsic metal value like silver coins of earlier centuries, the milled edge tradition continued as part of British coin design standards. By 1975, the 5 new pence had already been in circulation for 4 years since its introduction in 1971. It held the same value as the pre-decimal 1 shilling coin, and for some years both coins circulated side by side until the older shilling coins were gradually withdrawn. The presence of both new pence and the decimal value 5 helped the public adjust to decimalization, ensuring clarity for people still accustomed to shillings and pence. The 1975 dated coin belongs to the larger size 5 new pence series, which continued until 1990, when the denomination was reduced in size to a much smaller 18.0mm diameter coin to reduce costs and improve convenience. Numismatically, the 1975 Elizabeth II 5 new pence does not carry significant rarity in circulated condition, as it would produce in large numbers for general use. However, coins preserved in high grades, particularly those in uncirculated condition or struck in special proof sets, are of greater interest to collectors. The Royal Mint also included 1975 dated examples in annual proof sets, which feature sharper details, mirror-like fields, and frosted relief compared to standard circulation strikes. Collectors also note that this coin belongs to the transitional early decimal series with a new pence inscription, which makes it historically significant despite its commonality. The 1975 5 new pence coin represents a fascinating moment in British coinage history, blending tradition with modernization. It carries a youthful image of Queen Elizabeth II during the middle of her reign, the symbolic Scottish thistle-crowned indignity, and the practical considerations of a nation adapting to decimalization. Today, while the denomination in its original size no longer circulates, it survives in collections of numismatists and as a piece of historical currency that captures the economic and cultural shifts of Britain in the mid-1970s. For everyday people at the time, the 5 new pence was an ordinary coin used for bus fares, newspapers, and small purchases. But for historians and collectors, it is a tangible link to a period of transition in British monetary history under the reign of one of its longest-serving monarchs. The Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 1978 5 new pence coin is a remarkable piece of British numismatic history, produced during the later part of the 1970s as part of the United Kingdom's relatively young decimal coinage system. The phrase Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD appears prominently on the obverse side of the coin, surrounding the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This Latin inscription is traditional on British coinage, standing for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fide Defensa, which translates into English as Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. It highlights the Queen's dual role as both the sovereign ruler of the United Kingdom and the supreme governor of the Church of England. The year 1978 is engraved at the bottom of the obverse, indicating the minting year, and situating the coin within a period when Britain was still acclimatizing to decimalization, introduced just 7 years earlier in 1971. On the obverse side, the design showcases a second definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, crafted by sculptor Arnold Machin. This portrait was first introduced in 1968 and remained in use on British coinage until 1984, making it one of the most familiar depictions of the Queen during her middle years. In the portrait, the Queen is facing right and is shown wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most iconic and often depicted royal jewels. This tiara, originally gifted to Queen Mary in 1893 and later passed down to Elizabeth II, became emblematic of a public image during this era. The Machin effigy is elegant and youthful in appearance, with finely engraved details capturing the Queen's facial features, hair, and regal poise. It has often been praised for balancing dignity with approachability, making it suitable for everyday currency carried by millions. Surrounding the portrait is a neatly spaced Latin legend, rendered in uppercase serif lettering, encircling the coin in a manner that unites tradition formality with a new decimal coinage system. Turning to the reverse side, the design was created by Christopher Ironside, the British artist and designer responsible for all the original decimal coin reverses introduced in 1971. The 5 new pence coins reverse prominently features the badge of Scotland, which is a crowned thistle. The thistle, long considered the national symbol of Scotland, represents resilience, endurance, and a deep sense of identity within the United Kingdom. The crown placed above the thistle emphasizes its royal connection, symbolizing Scotland's unity with the British monarchy. Surrounding the thistle and crown design are the inscriptions new pence at the top and the numeral 5 at the bottom, which clearly indicates the denomination. The lettering style is bold and well-spaced, ensuring legibility even on the relatively small surface of the coin. This specific style with a new pence inscription was used until 1981, after which coins switched to reading 5 pence instead, marking a change in the way the denomination was expressed. Thus, the 1978 issue belongs firmly to the early new pence series of British decimal coinage. From a technical standpoint, the 1978 5 new pence coin was minted in cupronickel, an alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition gave the coin a bright, silvery appearance that was durable for circulation but did not carry intrinsic metal value like older silver coinage. The coin weighed 5.65 grams, had a diameter of 23.59 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.75 millimeters. The edge of the coin is milled reeded, a feature carried over from earlier coinage traditions, which helped to deter clipping and gave the coin a tactile edge. The size of the 5 new pence in 1978 was identical to that of the pre-decimal shilling coin, which it had replaced. Indeed, for many years after decimalization, old 1 shilling coins continued to circulate interchangeably with the new decimal 5 pence coins, maintaining continuity for the public during a time of monetary adjustment. The historical context of the 1978 issue is significant. Decimalization in the United Kingdom had been introduced on February 15, 1971, an event known as Decimal Day. The 5 new pence denomination was an essential part of this new system, designed to simplify calculations and replace awkward conversions in the old pounds, shillings, and pence framework. By 1978, decimalization was firmly established, and younger generations had grown accustomed to the new coinage, while older generations continued to adjust. The 5 new pence, being equivalent to 1 shilling, remained a familiar unit of currency, particularly useful for everyday purchases such as bus fares, small groceries, or newspapers. Numismatically, the 1978 5 new pence coin does not carry great rarity in circulated form, as it was minted in large quantities to support commerce across the United Kingdom. The Royal Mint produced millions of these coins, and they were widely used in daily transactions. However, coins preserved in high-grade uncirculated UNC condition or included in proof sets issued by the Royal Mint hold greater value for collectors. Proof versions, produced with mirror-like fields and frosted reliefs, highlight the design intricacies of both the Queen's portrait and the thistle badge in exceptional clarity. Collectors today often pursue such examples for their aesthetic appeal and historical significance. One particularly important point is that the 1978 dated coin still belongs to the larger size 5 new pence series, which remained in circulation until 1990. After that year, the coin was reduced in size to 18 millimeters in diameter to better suit modern needs and to cut production costs. Thus, the 1978 coin represents the original, larger new pence format, which is often considered more substantial and traditional in feel by collectors. Culturally and historically, the 1978 Elizabeth II 5 new pence coin reflect Britain in the late 1970s, a nation modernizing its currency while preserving its royal traditions. The coin merges a youthful Machin portrait of the Queen, symbolizing continuity and stability, with a proud emblem of Scotland, underscoring the unity of the United Kingdom within its coinage. For people of the time, it was a simple, everyday piece of change. For collectors today, it is a nostalgic artifact of the early decimal era, a reminder of the transition from shillings and pence to a more modern currency system. In summary, the Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 1978 5 new pence coin is a standard circulation coin of the decimal series, featuring the Machin portrait of the Queen and the crown thistle reversed by Ironside, struck in cupronickel with specifications of 23.59 millimeters diameter and 5.65 G weight. While common in circulation, it holds historical importance as part of the early decimal series, still bearing the new pence inscription, and is valued by collectors in higher grades or proof issues as a representation of Britain's coinage in the late 20th century. The Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 1979 5 new pence coin is a distinguished piece of British decimal coinage, struck during the later part of the 1970s when the United Kingdom's decimal system was still relatively new, having been officially adopted in 1971. The coin represents both continuity and change in British currency. Continuity in the sense that it replaced a familiar shilling with an equivalent 5 pence denomination, and change in that it embodied the modern decimal monetary system that simplified everyday financial transactions. The obverse bears a well-known Latin inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 1979 inch, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This legend has been a traditional part of British coinage for centuries, linking the reigning monarch to the divine right of rule and their role as supreme governor of the Church of England. The date 1979 is placed at the bottom, indicating the minting year and anchoring the coin within a period of significant social, political, and economic shifts in Britain during the late 1970s. On the obverse design, the coin displays a second definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by Arnold Machin OBE, one of the most respected medalists and designers of British currency in the 20th century. This portrait, introduced in 1968, had become a familiar sight by 1979 and remained in circulation until 1984. In Machin's engraving, the Queen faces right and wears the famous Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most recognizable pieces of royal jewelry, gifted originally to Queen Mary in 1893 and later passed down to Elizabeth II in 1947. The depiction is elegant and slightly idealized, presenting the Queen with youthful features, poised expression, and refined hair detail. Around the portrait, the Latin legend forms a circular border, engraved in clear, evenly spaced serif lettering, giving the coin a formal yet balanced aesthetic. This design reflected stability, dignity, and the monarchy's central place in Britain's identity during a period of modernization in its coinage system. The reverse design of the 1979 5 new pence coin, like all coins of this denomination in the early decimal series, was created by Christopher Ironside, who designed the original reverses for the entire decimal range introduced in 1971. The design depicts a badge of Scotland, a crown thistle representing resilience, endurance, and national identity. The thistle has long been associated with Scotland, and its presence on the coin emphasized Scotland's integral role within the United Kingdom. Above the thistle is a royal crown, which symbolizes the unity of the kingdom under monarchy. Encircling the central emblem are the words New Pence at the top, while the denomination numeral 5 sits prominently at the bottom. The lettering is bold yet simple, designed to be instantly legible for everyday use. This inscription of New Pence was a defining feature of decimal coins from 1971 until 1981. From 1982 onward, the wording was updated to 5 pence, which means the 1979 issue is part of the early New Pence series, valued today as part of that first-generation decimal currency. In terms of physical specifications, the 1979 5 new pence coin was struck in cupro-nickel alloy, consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gave it a silvery tone while ensuring durability for circulation. The coin had a diameter of 23.59 millimeters, a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, and a weight of 5.65 grams. Its edge is milled reeded, continuing a long tradition in British coinage, originally designed centuries earlier to deter the practice of shaving or clipping metal from the edges of precious metal coins. Though cupro-nickel coins did not carry intrinsic value like silver, the reeded edge remained a standard feature for security and tactile recognition. The 5 new pence in 1979 shared the same dimensions as the old pre-decimal shilling, allowing for a smooth transition during decimalization when both coins circulated interchangeably until the withdrawal of shillings in 1990. The historical significance of the 1979 issue lies in its context within Britain's ongoing adaptation to decimal coinage. By 1979, decimalization had been in effect for 8 years, and the new currency system was well established in daily life. The 5 new pence, as a replacement for the shilling, became one of the most frequently handled coins, widely used for public transport fares, small goods, and everyday services. Its consistent size and value made it a staple denomination in people's pockets and purses. Culturally, the coin also serves as a reminder of Britain's economic climate of the late 1970s, a time marked by inflation, political changes, and preparations for the economic reforms that would shape the 1980s. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1979 Elizabeth II 5 new pence is not a rare coin in circulation, as the Royal Mint struck it in large numbers to meet commercial demand. Circulated examples are common and generally hold only modest value above face in collector markets. However, coins in high-grade uncirculated condition or included in proof sets are considerably more collectible. The Royal Mint issued proof coins with mirror-like fields and frosted devices, showcasing the Machin portrait and the crown thistle with enhanced clarity and contrast. Such proof issues are highly sought after by collectors of decimal coinage, as they preserve the artistry of the designs in pristine form. The 1979 coin also belongs to the larger size 5 new Pence series, which circulated from 1968 until 1990, when the denomination was reduced in size to 18 millimeters as part of a currency reform to make coins more practical and cost-effective. Thus, the 1979 issue represents the heavier, larger format of the 5p coin, which many people today recall with nostalgia as more substantial in hand compared to the modern small 5p. For collectors, these large-size examples form a distinct chapter in the story of British decimalization and are prized for their historical resonance. In summary, the Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 1979 5 new Pence coin is a durable and historically significant piece of decimal coinage, featuring the Machin portrait of a youthful Elizabeth II on the obverse and the crown Scottish thistle reversed by Ironside. Struck in Q-Pro nickel, weighing 5.65 g and measuring 23.59 millimeters, it circulated widely as a functional replacement for the old shilling. While common in circulation, higher-grade uncirculated and proof issues are collectible, representing both the artistry of late 20th century British coinage and the transitionary period of the early decimal system. Beyond its face value, it serves as a cultural artifact of Britain's late 1970s era, combining royal tradition with modern economic reform.